How's it going, YouTubers? It's Farrington Empire back again with a straight-up comparison of weapon systems, and it's going to be a quite disappointing upload. There's been a lot of changes to the system here and the game. First of all, I hope you're enjoying the HD. I finally figured it out, so I should have some pretty high-quality videos coming out, which is exciting. So I have a comparison here. I've set up a bunch of different, I did a bunch of different iterations with the antimatter cannons, and then because of my findings with that, I only tried 2 different setups for the SDBB rockets here. So I've been shooting at this poor abandoned space station. As you can see, Lucky and I have been harvesting on this, and this is where I've been testing different antimatter cannons and missiles. And that's what my harvester does to a space station. If you remember me talking about how efficient it was, this is fantastic. That's just bored a hole straight through, and then for each of these to get power, I just sat above it and just shot until it went out the other end. So just to show you some effects of what that does. As you can see, I bored out, missed one, but bored out the centers of each of them. Now, the reason this is disappointing is it used to be that with weapon systems, it was length, width, and height that would have different effects on how your antimatter cannons worked, how your systems worked, and everything else like that. But if you see here, this one does 72 damage. Now I have a control on all these. I have 16 power units, 1 weapons computer, and I put 15 antimatter cannons in different arrangements. So that's 72 straight up and down. This is, this is 15 straight up and down, does 72 damage. This is 15 straight across, and this as well does 72 damage. If you look up here, this is 15 in a straight line, and this as well, 72 damage. These also all have the same rate of fire. I'm not going to hop back inside each of them to show you that. I just need you to trust me. They all have the same exact rate of fire. So I started bundling them together. I have 3 wide, it's 5 deep to equal 15. Here we go. 72 damage. The rate of fire is also the same as the other 2. This up here, I have 2 right next to each other here, and there's 2 blocks of 15. These 2 have 30, okay? Because that should increase it, and it does. There we go. It does 103. So it has 30 right there, and I believe this has 30 as well. It's 999 and 3. So yeah, it was 30. We should do 103 as well. 103. And these, yes, they fire quicker, but they fire at the same rate as each other. So that leads me to believe that it doesn't matter anymore. It does not matter how your arrays are configured. I think it purely matters on how many antimatter cannons you have set up together. And it would appear that it's the same exact thing as your rockets. Now, these create the same exact size hole here. I shoot this guy there. It does not affect rate of travel. It makes a nice little hole there. This and these have 30 as well, sorry, as well as 16 power units. So if we find a clean piece of hull here, we just fire, and this is what kind of hole it creates. Boom. Nice and small. But they have the same amount of damage, and they have the same rate of travel through space and the same range, it would seem. This is new. This isn't how it used to be. Now, I used to enjoy figuring out, how to get the most out of your cannons and so forth in different arrays and so forth, but now it's numbers. It's a numbers game. And in a weird way, I kind of prefer that, because now it gives you the liberty to create a ship that's however you want it to look. And you can stuff antimatter cannons and missiles wherever they fit, and so long as you just have one port facing forward of which you want it to come out of. So, with the Millennium Falcon and so forth, I can really stack a lot of power and firepower in there, and it only matters how many I have, which is a really cool thing. Also, you may have noticed in the most recent update about power. Power is changed vastly, as well as shields and so forth, and it's actually a change for the better. It makes it more fair on servers. I know a lot of people are probably upset about this, but The power core setup that I did in my first video that shows the most efficient use, I'm sorry, my second video, that shows you the most efficient use of power through different arrangements, that still holds sway. You still get more power out of the arrangement that I showed you as opposed to one large block of power generation. Now the power tanks, the power storage, plays a much larger role. But this still does follow the configuration of X, Y, and Z to give you the most amount of power out of these power units. However, it doesn't exponentially grow like it used to. You used to be able to have a ship that was about the size of the Millennium Falcon, and if you stuffed it with power and stuffed it with shields, it would be impenetrable. You could not do any damage to it. However, with the new update, they make it so that once you get to a certain level of power generation and of shields, the recharge rate per second starts to taper off. There's Lucky's ship. It's his take on the Hammerhead. It looks pretty good. Anyway, moving on. It starts to level off. It starts to hit a plateau. And they do that so that large capital ships will still be able to have really good shielding, except for they'll be slow and they'll be massive. So this guy down here will have a fantastic recharge rate, and the shields will be able to protect it. However, it doesn't maneuver very quickly, and even then you can see I am starting to take on damage as I'm docked here, as pirates come by. There's been blocks that have been removed and shot out, so it makes it harder to create a ship that's completely impenetrable. And I think that's good, because for the servers and even for what Lucky and I are doing here, it makes it more challenging. It makes it so that you do have to be wary of pirates and so forth. As you can see here on the Millennium Falcon that I'm still working on the interior of, I was very happy with the interior, except for with the update, the shields are now more fragile and they can penetrate. So purely for appearance, I used a lot of non-hardened hull, just regular gray hull on the outside, and as you can see, they shot through it like paper. If you want a sneak peek of the interior here, I've created the core storage tank. I just noticed that. Okay. This is the main entryway here, where you remember Luke Skywalker was training with C-3PO and Chewbacca playing chess. So this is where that scene takes place right here. This is where Obi-Wan was sitting, and this is where the chess table was, and Luke was somewhere over here in this area. So this is slow going. We've been fighting pirates and trying to improve our ship's ability to defend themselves more than I've actually had a chance to build on this thing. I've been stuffing power generation, as you can see up in the top here. Those are docking enhancers and so forth for my turrets. So it's an interesting thing. I do, as I said, I do like it. It makes it more challenging and harder. I can't get out through there. It makes it more challenging. It makes it harder to defend your ships. But it's something that we definitely have to take into consideration now. You're going to need better capital ships, and you're going to need better space stations to defend your ships while they're docked. And purely for that, Lucky and I are going to be our next large project. I'm still going to be doing big builds. I still want to do movie builds and so forth. Let me know some of your favorite ships. I will be building those. But in the... Oh no, guns have been shot out. But as well, we are going to be building around our shop here. Now I know that's not necessarily... It's not necessary anymore, as you can make anything into a shop. However, that's what we're going to start doing. We like where this position is. It does not move sectors. We're at 38-2. We don't... I imagine we are probably in an orbit around the sun, but at the same time, it doesn't really move. We thought about building around a planet, but those move and there's glitchiness involved there. So until the devs figure that out, we kind of want to hold off on that. But yeah. So in terms of weaponry, I hope this was informational. It's all very new. It's exciting because there's no conventions that you need to follow anymore. Your ships don't need to have those big blocky ports where your guns go. You can now have the freedom to design at will. But it's definitely something I'm gonna have to get used to. And The same thing with your power generation and power consumption rate. Um, Lucky's ship over here has massive, massive generators. However, this is not very maneuverable. It has insanely powerful guns, and it's really fantastic, but you can't really turn around all that quickly. It moves pretty well for a ship of this size. He's got a lot of engines in here. However, they struggle to um, get enough power to the engines now. And when you're firing the engines and firing the guns, because of the cap on the power generation, it's a lot harder to create a ship that can do all those things at once. So these are all things you need to keep in mind as things change and as they improve. We can get upset about them, or you can learn to adapt and create cooler and bigger and better ships, and larger fleets, which is definitely on the horizon for us. So once again, I hope this was informational. I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek at the interior of the Millennium Falcon. I will be getting to work on that, and we will be getting another video out of the interior of the Millennium Falcon. Lucky will also be possibly making another ship, but we will be working on the space station here. It's going to be massive. This little guy is tiny compared to what we're going to have. It's actually tiny compared to what a lot of people have on YouTube as well. But yeah, it should be pretty exciting. It's going to be a little bit Halo Arc-esque. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. I think I'll probably do a separate upload once we have a little bit of construction done on this to tell you what kind of layout we're going to have and what you can expect to see in the future. But for the time being, I did some weapon stuff for you. I should probably go clean that up, huh? And hopefully that was informational. Hopefully that provided a lot of info for you. If you want to see any other direct comparisons, please let me know. One thing I'm also toying with is because you can switch the orientation of your engines, I'm wondering if that is going to have an effect on which direction you can travel and how quickly. I think it would only affect strafe and ascending and descending, forward and reverse. I don't think it's going to have an effect on your turning ability. But that remains to be seen, and I'll be uploading some stuff to see if we can't figure that out. Once again, this is Farrington Empire. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, rate, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you, and happy star making.